What's going on, everybody? Welcome to 5 alternate versions of Spider-Man that I think would be great in Into the Spider-Verse. So a quick disclaimer is, I don't know if they're necessarily intending to add more characters, but as you can see from the trailer, there's already, I think, 6 different versions of Spider-Man from across the multiverse. As you can see, the multiverse is starting to collapse more and more, and Miles Morales has to fix it before everything crumbles. I think as the multiverse is crumbling farther and farther in the climax of the movie, they might introduce even more versions of Spider-Man that they just haven't shown in the trailer yet, whether it's for a quick cameo or an actual supporting character. Regardless of if or if not they add any more characters, I just thought this video would be a nice little speculation as the movie is coming out in just over a month. Whether or not you're familiar with the comics, the Peter Parker we know and love is from a version of Earth known as Earth 616. So let's get into the countdown. Number 5 is Ghost Spider. The Spirits of Vengeance are a group of benevolent beings bearing the divine wrath of God to seek vengeance on those who have sinned in the mortal plane. These spirits bond themselves to human hosts known as Ghost Riders. While in Earth 616 we all know and love Johnny Blaze and subsequently Robbie Reyes as Ghost Riders, in Earth 11638, the Spirit of Vengeance latched itself to Peter Parker instead. This gave him an all-white outfit with a skeletal spider logo and a skull with blue flames emitting from it, and thus he donned the name Ghost Spider. As such an awesome, unexpected character, I think that a brief appearance from Ghost Spider would be awesome, especially for those who played the Marvel Spider-Man PlayStation 4 game and saw him as a costume. It would be great as a quick appearance if, like I said, perhaps the climax of the movie has all these multiverses joining together. It would be pretty funny to see him flying across the screen. Moving on to number 4. Ultimate Peter Parker. Since so many loyal fans have been following Peter Parker's antics since 1960, a lot of them ended up missing the younger version of Peter. Being in his late 20s in Earth 616, they decided to start Earth 1610, where they can bring a modern take to the young Peter Parker. Unfortunately, he is killed off, but this version of Earth gets Miles Morales as the new Ultimate Spider-Man. I think that it's pretty likely that this version of Pete is going to be in the movie, considering in the trailer you can see Miles Morales standing over a grave and the grave marker says PP. Stands for Peter Parker. I think that it would be a really good decision to have this version of Peter in the movie, considering Miles Morales is supposed to be Spider-Man's like #1 fan. This could be this movie's way of basically introducing a younger version of Peter Parker and showing all the cool feats, thus showing how much Miles loves him and also giving more of a shock factor when you can see the washed up Earth 616 Spider-Man. There's actually already a lot of speculation that he's already been revealed to be in the movie because of this one sound clip right here.
Hey kid, you're like me.
A lot of people, and me included, agreed that this guy's voice doesn't sound anything like Jake Johnson's voice. This could be the ultimate version of Spider-Man from his universe that dies and triggers Miles to want to take his place. Especially because right here,
my name is Miles Morales, and in my world, I'm the one and only Spider-Man. That is,
indicating obviously that the Peter Parker from his universe is dead and pretty much confirming that that gravestone is in fact Peter's. Moving on to number 3, we have Spider-Punk. In Earth 616, Hobart Brown is the Prowler, but in Earth 138, he's Spider-Punk, the leader of the Spider Army devoted to bringing down President Osborn's corrupt regime. With all the same powers as Earth 616 Peter Parker, plus the power of rock and roll, he's able to use his electric guitar and armed with the same powers as Peter Parker and god damn it, dude. With webs in one hand and electric guitar in the other, he can use the power of rock and roll to bring down this corrupt government. Seeing Hobby as a threat, Osborn assembles his private army known as the Thunderbolt Department to take him down.
But with the power of 15,000 volts of punk rock energy,
Hobart was able to take out his technology, disabling the Thunderbolt Department and winning the fight. Hobby went for Osborn himself, slamming him over the head with his electric guitar, turning to his army and revealing his face before giving an inspiring monologue. As previously mentioned, in Earth 616, Hobart is actually the Prowler, who's already revealed to be in this movie. However, the version of Prowler who is most likely in Into the Spider-Verse is Aaron Davis, who is Miles' uncle. This means that Hobby's appearance as Spider-Punk is not outside the realm of possibility. Moving on to number 2, Spider-Man 2099. Originally appearing in 1992 in Earth 928 and returning in 2013 in Earth TRN 588, the half-Mexican, half-Irish genetic splicing engineer Miguel O'Hara was fascinated by recreating Peter Parker's powers. After one of Miguel's experiments was sabotaged by a jealous coworker, Miguel's lab equipment overcharged and exploded, killing the coworker and leaving Miguel with more advanced powers than Peter ever had. Stronger and faster than Peter, along with organic controlled webs and retractable claws that come out of his fingers and toes, Miguel found himself bursting with power. The corrupt CEO of the corporation that Miguel worked for, Tyler Stone, sent cyborg bounty hunter Venture to go and kill Miguel. Miguel was able to defeat Venture and use his new identity as Spider-Man to take out the corrupt corporation he was working for, Alchemax, thus starting his tenure as Spider-Man 2099, the Protector of the Future. Miguel's character was most likely a direct inspiration for Batman Beyond, who's basically the same exact thing but just created slightly after. However, after the launch of Marvel Now, Miguel has been stuck in the present day for several years, and I think only recently was able to get back to his time. After the incursions of the multiverse, joining together several different Earths into one planet, Miguel was trapped in the present day for many years, only going back to 2099 in the last few months in the comics, I believe. Without a doubt, Miguel is a fan favorite, and I think maybe not being in the movie for too long, because I really think that this movie needs to buckle down and focus on Miles as a main character, but everyone loves Miguel, and a quick little intro, some cool action scenes with him, that could be perfect for the movie. Before I disclose my personal number 1, I wanted to go over some honorable mentions. Spider-Hulk. This obviously couldn't be in the movie because this is made by Sony, and I don't think that Marvel would really want to sign off on Hulk being in this movie. Next up is Ben Reilly, who is the original clone of Peter Parker made by Jackal. And after that is Kane, who is another clone of Peter Parker made by the Jackal. Then we have Cosmic Spider-Man, who is a version of Spider-Man who is embedded with the power Cosmic. Clearly wouldn't make sense to be in this movie, he would just be way too powerful. Armored Spider-Man. This is a rich and privileged version of Spider-Man who grew up without losing anybody, including Gwen and Uncle Ben. He became filthy rich and kind of took an early Iron Man approach to things, being a bit of a playboy and building an armored Spider-Man suit. In the Spider-Verse storyline, he was an arrogant prick until he finally realized how much hardship all the other Spider-Man had gone through. Next is Spider-Man India, who was a simple Indian boy from a remote village. He was an orphan being taken care of by his Aunt Maya and his Uncle Bahim. He was often picked on at school. His aunt and uncle were obviously struggling to support him. You get the idea, it's basically the same story, just everyone's Indian. Next is Old Man Spider, also known as Ezekiel Sims. After the death of Peter Parker, Ezekiel Sims carried on the name as the new Spider-Man. He is a recurring character across several different universes. Then we have Six-Armed Spider-Man, which would be so funny to see just for like 2 seconds in the movie, just seeing a Spider-Man with 6 arms pop out. Along with Man Spider, who is basically Six-Armed Spider-Man that was not able to get the antidote and ended up fully turning into a spider humanoid type thing. Finally, we got the one who was originally my number 5 pick, Spider UK. Spider UK, or Billy Braddock, is a mix between Captain Britain and Spider-Man. It was through his efforts that the Spider Army in the Spider-Verse storyline was formed, and he did most of the recruiting. I think he's a very cool version of Spider-Man, based off of a extremely underrated hero in Captain Britain. But finally, moving on to number 1, we have Superior Spider-Man. While talking to Doc Ock on his deathbeds, Peter's mind was swapped with Otto's. Peter promptly died in Otto's body, and Otto decided to take up the mantle of Spider-Man. At first, Otto tried to not only embrace his new role of Spider-Man, but also improve upon the job that Peter did, until ultimately his overly violent tactics and reckless nature led to more issues being created. In an act of great revenge, an army of villains teamed up to defeat him. After this, it was clear to Otto that he was not cut out to be Spider-Man. When Otto found out that Peter's consciousness was still locked away deep within his body, Otto sacrificed himself so that Peter could come back and be Spider-Man. During his attempt to try to take down Green Goblin, Superior Spider-Man also had a run-in with Spider-Man 2099, who he promptly left to die. In the current continuity of Marvel Comics, though, Spider-Man is back to being normal Spider-Man, and now there's another version of Superior Spider-Man who's a clone of Peter Parker, but somehow has a artificial download of Doc Ock's consciousness in his brain. It's all very confusing. Just They wanted to bring back the character because he was cool, just don't think that deeply into it. Anyway, to quickly reiterate, just in case I wasn't clear, I know that there's a pretty big possibility that they're not going to be adding any more characters to the Spider-Verse. I mean, as I've said a million times, I really want them to focus on Miles Morales, but I think that these 5 plus the honorable mentions would be really cool to have just in a brief scene, maybe in the climax of the movie. So yeah, I completely understand that this is just a fun speculation video. Please don't go into the comments and be like, oh, I say, this blithering idiot thought that they were gonna add more characters, what a buffoon. Okay, like, I fucking know. It's just in case, alright? Do you agree with the list? Did I miss any super cool iterations of Spider-Man? And if I did, feel free to let me know. Comment below on who your favorite iteration of Spider-Man is. And I can't wait to see this movie. You all should check it out on December 14th, 2018. It looks extremely promising, and it's going to be a big step for Marvel. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see any more videos on movie discussion, movie reviews, If you want to see any more videos on TV or movie review or discussion, along with plenty of different Let's Plays on my channel, feel free to check out those videos. If you'd like to watch me gaming live on Twitch with either my friends or by myself, feel free to follow me on Twitch at The Nerd Supreme. And if you would like to stay up to date on any videos I'll be making or streams I'll be doing, feel free to follow me on Twitter at The Nerd Supreme_. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.